Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University.
Namaskar. My name is Dr. Reena Vaishnav. I'm working as an assistant professor in Department of English at Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University. The university is proud to offer online video lecture series for MA program, and I welcome, as a part of this online video lecture series, I welcome Dr. Saurabh Vaishnav, who is working as an assistant professor in Department of English at St. Xavier's College. He has been teaching experience at St. Xavier's College since last 10 years. His expertise areas are British literature, American literature, Indian aesthetics, and critical theory. Today in this session, he will share his views on metaphysical poetry. So now I invite Dr. Saurabh Vaishnav to share his views with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Reena, for such a gracious introduction. It is always an honor to be invited by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University to share my views. In today's session, I will be focusing on metaphysical poetry, primarily focusing on John Donne as a poet. Three poems of John Donne, which I will be talking about in today's session. So the following topics is what I will try my best to justify in today's session. I'll give an overview of metaphysical poetry. I'll also talk about John Donne as a poet. Next, I'll move on to the discussion of Death, Be Not Proud. Another poem is The Canonization, and the last poem of John Donne is A Valediction Forbidding Mourning. So let's begin. Metaphysical poetry. Now the term metaphysical poets, it has been given to a group of poets during the 17th century. Some of the poets who are associated with metaphysical poetry, they are, of course, John Donne, who is considered as the father of metaphysical poetry, Andrew Marvell, Richard Crashaw, George Herbert, and Henry Vaughan. The term metaphysical was coined by Dr. Samuel Johnson. Meta means beyond. So metaphysical, it means beyond the physical world, something which is difficult to be understood through the realm of science. Metaphysical poetry is also notable for metaphysical conceits. What is a conceit? Conceit is a comparison of two completely unrelated and contrasting things. They hardly have anything similar between them. So a comparison between these two things is what conceit means. And metaphysical poets, they are notorious for introducing wild conceits in their poems. Metaphysical poetry is often observed to be short, concise, and full of wit, humor, and imagery. I'll move on to John Donne as a poet. John Donne was born in 1572 and he took his last breath in 1631. As I mentioned earlier, he is considered as the father of metaphysical poetry. Some of his famous poems, they are The Flea, Death, Be Not Proud, The Good Morrow, A Valediction Forbidding Mourning, The Sun Rising, Go and catch a falling star. The canonization. No man is an island, and the ecstasy. John Donne wrote several sonnets, elegies, lyrics, and also satirical poems. Some of the parameters, some of the characteristics of John Donne as a poet are: there are elements of sensuality which are observed in his poems. Colloquialism. Colloquialism means some words and phrases which we use in day-to-day conversation, but not in a formal academic manner. So we will find subtle use of colloquialism in his poems. Of course, there is satire, wit, and definitely conceit. I would like to talk about this poem first. Death, be not proud. Death, be not proud is a sonnet. We all know that a sonnet is a 14-line poem. Death, be not proud was written somewhere around 1609, and it was published posthumously in 1633 in the collection known as Holy Sonnets. Posthumously meaning after the death of the poet. In fact, John Donne was never interested to publish his poems during his lifetime. There are 19 sonnets in this collection. Death, be not proud is the 10th sonnet. A poem has to be read. So I'll read the poem before I will try my best, and then after reading the poem, I will try my best to explain the poem line by line. Death, be not proud, though some have called thee mighty and dreadful, for thou art not so. For those whom thou thinkest thou dost overthrow, die not, poor death, nor yet canst thou kill me. From rest and sleep, which but thy pictures be, much pleasure, then from thee much more must flow, and soonest our best men with thee do go, rest of their bones and souls delivery. Thou art slave to fate, chance, kings, and desperate men, and dost with poison, war, and sickness dwell. And poppy or charms can make us sleep as well. And better than thy stroke, why swellest thou then? One short sleep past, we wake eternally. And death, thou shalt be no more. Death, thou shalt die. Very beautiful, very interesting poem. What does the speaker of the poem say here? Death, be not proud. Look at the opening of the poem. The speaker is challenging death. The speaker is directly talking to death and telling death not to be proud. Be not proud, though some have called thee mighty and dreadful. Some people consider you as a powerful entity. Some people consider you as mighty and they fear you. Do not feel proud about yourself, death. That is what the speaker of the poem is telling to death. For thou art not so. The speaker does not consider death to be mighty, to be dreadful. The speaker is not afraid of death. For those whom thou thinkest thou dost overthrow, die not. Now, there are people, of course, death. Eventually, every living organism who has taken birth will die. So, death, if you are thinking that you are overthrowing someone, killing someone, ending someone's life, poor death. What a poor thought that is, death. Nor yet canst thou kill me. You cannot kill me. You cannot kill me, death. If you are thinking that you can kill anyone, go on. You are welcome to think about that. But please never think that you can kill me. From rest and sleep, which but thy pictures be? Resting and sleeping, they are just like you. They are just your synonyms. So when we rest, when we sleep, it's as if we have taken a momentary death, a partial death. There's no movement. We are lying peacefully. So they are just like you, resting and sleeping. They are just your pictures. Which but thy pictures be? Much pleasure. And the speaker of the poem is telling death that when the speaker rests or when the speaker sleeps, he derives much more pleasure, much more satisfaction. So the speaker considers resting and sleeping as synonymous to death. Then from thee much more must flow. Resting and sleeping, if they are synonymous to you, there has to be something grave. There has to be something more important about you than just resting and sleeping. And soonest our best men with thee do go. The best of the best of the best men, they will go. The most powerful, the most mighty, the most valorous men, they'll go. Everyone eventually dies. Rest of their bones and soul's delivery. So their bones will rest, their soul will be delivered. Now, this is a sestate. The earlier stanza, which was of 8 lines, was an octave. Now let us see what the speaker is trying to convey in the sestate. Thou art slave to fate, chance, kings, and desperate men. You are slave. You obey commands. You have to obey commands of fate. Someone dies because of fate. Someone dies because of chance. So whether it is fate or chance, you obey them. You are a slave of fate. You are a slave of chance. And people die. Because of fate, some people are destined to die. And because of some accident, some chance, people die. And you obey fate. You obey chance. And you are there when they die. So you are a slave to fate. You are a slave to chance, to kings. Now we are all aware that 16th century, 17th century was an age of colonialism, where different kingdoms were attacking different kingdoms, were trying to usurp their land, their resources, their kingdom. So you are a slave to kings. When a king commands or gives a marching order to his troop, and then the troop, the army, it wages a war and it kills thousands and thousands of soldiers and people, you are a slave to kings. Why did people die? Not because of you, but because that mad king had ordered the march of the army, and hence you are there. You obey a king. So you are a slave to kings and desperate men. We are all aware how desperate people react. How people react how they behave when they become desperate. Sometimes in desperation, people kill each other. You are a slave to desperate men. It is because of their desperation that you have some active role to play. So here the speaker is trying to convey that death is not an active factor. Death is more like a passive factor. It only comes into play whenever there is fate or chance or kings or desperation. And dust with poison, war and sickness dwell. Where does death reside? Where does death live? Where does it live? You reside in poison. You stay. Where do you stay? Where is your home? Poison is your home. War is your home. Sickness is your home. And poison, war, sickness, all of these aspects are not optimistic in nature. They are inferior. So where is your home? This is where the speaker of the poem is trying to tell death that you live in ordinary situations, ordinary places, mediocre places. And poppy or charms can make us sleep as well. Poppy means drugs. When we inject drugs, when we take drugs, when we inhale drugs, it makes us sleep. Taking drugs is intoxicating. It makes us sleep. It makes us drowsy. So poppy or charms, magic. Charms is magic. So even they can make us sleep as well. You are making people sleep. What is the big deal? Poppy and charms can make us sleep as well. And better than thy stroke. And their effect, the effect of drugs, the effect of magic is much more influencing, much more effective than you. So it's better, both of them are better than thy stroke. Why swellest thou then? Why are you swelling? What is the need to take pride about? What is the reason to take pride about? Is there any reason to take pride? This is where the speaker of the poem is directly trying to undermine death. You are not important. You are just some casual thing. Moving to the couplet of the poem. One short sleep past. When we die, the speaker considers dying as just a short sleep. It's just a short sleep. After this short sleep, we wake eternally. And then we are going to be awake eternally. Meaning, then death, you are not going to make anyone sleep. You are not going to make anyone die. The souls are going to remain awake eternally, forever. And death shall be no more. So when we wake eternally, death shall be no more. Death will not have any active role to play. Death, thou shalt die. You will die, death. What an amazing, challenging, daring poem. Moving on to some of the major themes of this poem, we see that there is a strong element of defiance against death. Now, for our better understanding, what I have done is that I have tried to highlight some of the lines of the poem which reflect this particular theme, that is defiance against death. So I will go back and the opening of the poem. Death, be not proud. Do not be proud. Do not take pride about anything. Do not be proud. So this is a defiant act against death by the speaker. This is like a challenge to death. Don't be proud. There's nothing great about you. Also the line, poor death, nor yet canst thou kill me. You cannot kill me. You do not possess the power to kill me. So this is like a defiance, standing up against death. Also in this line, Thou art slave to fate, chance, kings, and desperate men. You are a slave to all of them, defying death, undermining death, considering death as something that is negligible, inconsequential. We also see the theme of eternal life, especially in the couplet. One short sleep past after we die. So dying is just like a short sleep, and after that we wake eternally. So these lines, they reflect eternal life, the theme of eternal life. Death, you shall be no more. Death, thou shalt die. Meaning, forever life is going to go on after death. So there's a theme of eternal life also poignant in this poem. Sleep and rest as miniature versions of death. And this particular line, where the speaker of the poem says that from rest and sleep, they are your pictures. Resting and sleeping, they are synonymous to you, and they give much more pleasure. So this is where the speaker is trying to relate a connection between rest, sleep to death. So resting and sleeping, they are your pictures, miniature images of death. Further, even in these lines, and poppy or charms can make us sleep as well, and better than thy stroke. Even drugs and magic, they also induce us to sleep. They also influence us. They make us drowsy. They make us sleepy. So we feel sleepy when we have them. So resting and sleeping, like miniature versions of death. Moving on, the form, meter, and rhyme scheme of this particular poem. This is a sonnet. So a sonnet has an octave and a sestate. Not necessarily that every sonnet has an octave and a sestate. Some sonnets might have 4 quatrains and a couplet. This particular sonnet has an octave and a sestate. An octave is a stanza of 8 lines, and a sestate is a stanza of 6 lines. So this is a sonnet. The rhyme scheme of this poem is ABBA, ABBA, so that is an octave, CD, DC, and the last 2 lines of the poem, the couplet, they are rhyming E, E. Meaning that the first line of the poem, it rhymes with the 4th, 5th, and 8th line of the poem. And the second line of the poem, it rhymes with the 3rd, 6th, and 7th line of the poem. And so on regarding the sestate. The 9th line of the poem, it rhymes with the 12th line of the poem. 10th and 11th line, they rhyme. And of course, the couplet, 13th and 14th line, they also rhyme. So this is the rhyme scheme of the poem. The poem is in the form of iambic pentameter. Iamb is a feat that contains 2 syllables. The first syllable is unstressed and the next syllable is stressed. So unstressed syllable and stressed syllable. When we are trying to recite a poem on any given syllable where we exert more pressure, more stress, that of course is a high stressed syllable. To give an example of iambic pentameter, and death shall be. So here in this particular line, this is one line that I have taken from the poem. And death, these are 2 syllables. Shall be, next 2 syllables. No more, next 2 syllables. Death, thou, and last syllable, last pair, last feet is shalt die. So in total, every line contains 10 syllables, and there are 5 feats, which is why it is iambic pentameter. I will move on to the second poem of John Donne, The Canonization. The title of the poem, The Canonization, it means consecrating someone as a saint. This poem was written somewhere around 1590, and of course, this poem, just like the previous poem, Death Be Not Proud, was also published posthumously after the death of John Donne in 1633 in the collection of his poems titled Songs and Sonnets. I will be reading this poem as well. So I'll read the whole poem, the complete poem, and then I'll try my best to explain each line of the poem. For God's sake, hold your tongue and let me love, or chide my palsy or my gout, my 5 grey hairs or ruined fortune flout. With wealth your state, your mind with arts improve. Take you a course, get you a place, observe his honor or his grace, or the king's reel or his stamped face. Contemplate what you will, approve, so you will let me love. Alas, alas, who is injured by my love? What merchants' ships have my sighs drowned? Who says my tears have overflowed his ground? When did my colds a forward spring remove? When did the heats which my veins feel add one more to the plaguy bill? Soldiers find wars and lawyers find out still. Litigious men which quarrels move, though she and I do love. Call us what you will, we are made such by love. Call her one, me another fly. We are tapers too, and at our own cost die. And we in us find the eagle and the dove. The phoenix riddle hath more wit by us. We two, being one, are it. So, to one neutral thing, both sexes fit. We die and rise the same, and prove mysterious by this love. We can die by it, if not live by love. And if unfit for tombs and hearse, our legend be, it will be fit for verse. And if no piece of chronicle we prove, we will build in sonnets pretty rooms. As well, a well-wrought urn becomes the greatest ashes as half-acre tombs. And by these hymns, all shall approve us canonized for love. The last stanza. And thus invoke us, you whom reverend love made another's hermitage. You to whom love was peace and now is rage, who did the whole world's soul contract and drove into the glasses of your eyes, so made such mirrors and such spies that they did all to you epitomize. Countries, towns, courts beg from above a pattern of your love. I'll try my best to explain very beautiful another interesting poem of John Donne. For God's sake, hold your tongue and let me love. There seems to be someone around. The speaker of the poem does not want interference from anyone. No interference. No talking. No disturbing. When I am loving my beloved, for God's sake, hold your tongue. Don't utter anything. Don't speak anything. Let me laugh. Just let me laugh. Or chide my palsy. Palsy is a muscular disease. Or my gout. Gout is a disease like arthritis. So it's a disease of bones, of joints. So let me laugh. Don't speak about my palsy, my muscular disease, or my gout, the disease that I'm suffering from. Don't speak about anything. Please don't talk about anything. Please do not talk about my condition. Let me laugh. My 5 grey hairs or ruined fortune flout. Do not talk about my grey hair. Now this is where the speaker of the poem gives us a hint that this is a middle-aged person, not a young person, not a teenage, definitely not a teenager. Which is why grey hairs, which is why muscular disease and gout. So my 5 grey hairs or ruined fortune flout. Don't talk about my ruin. Don't talk about my economic condition. Don't talk about my prosperity. Please don't talk anything about me. Let me love. Do not disturb when I am loving my beloved. With wealth your state, your mind with arts improve. The whole wealth is yours. Go on. This is where the speaker is addressing to someone who seems to be disturbing the speaker. So go on. The whole state is your wealth. There are so many arts outside, away, where you can improve your mind. You can sharpen your intellect. Go on, sharpen your intellect. Go on and try to accumulate all the wealth of the state. Do not disturb me when I am loving my beloved. Take you to a course, get you a place. So you try to learn a different art, a new art. It's going to take you to a different place. You learn a new course. Observe his honor or his grace. Observe the powerful person. Observe other people. Observe someone who is mighty and powerful. Don't observe me. Don't try to pass any comment about me. So observe his honor or his grace, or the king's real or his stamped face. Go and observe the king. Go and observe his face. Do not observe my grey hair. Do not observe my palsy, my gout. Don't observe my wealth. Do not disturb. Do not absolutely interfere when I am loving my beloved. Contemplate what you will and approve. Think about all those things. Get busy with arts. Get busy trying to observe other people. Try to interfere into other people's matters. Stop interfering in my personal matters. Contemplate what you will and approve. So you will let me love. Go and get busy somewhere else. Stop interfering me. I want to love my beloved. Let me love my beloved. The second stanza of this poem, the speaker says, Alas, alas, who is injured by my love? Okay, so I'm in love with my beloved. I am deeply in love with my beloved. Did my love hurt anyone? Did my love cause harm to anyone? Did it? Did anyone get injured by my love? It's a rhetorical question. No one got injured. What merchants' ships have my sighs drowned? We know how love is a topsy-turvy ride. Sometimes there is ebb and flow. So sometimes, when this person, especially the speaker of the poem, sometimes he is in despair. He's sad. And he's sighing for his beloved. The despair, the sadness that comes with the absence of the beloved. That's what sigh is. Sigh. Missing his beloved. And that's what the speaker says, that has my despair, has my sigh drowned any merchant ships? No, not. My sigh, my despair, it has not caused any harm to the merchant ships. Who says my tears have overflowed his ground? Who says that because of my tears all the merchants' ships, they got drowned? This is an exaggeration. So I am in love with my beloved. My love is not causing any damage, is not causing any harm to anyone. So because of my love, merchant ships have not got affected. Not only that, when did my colds a forward spring remove? I feel cold. I feel alone. Sometimes I feel solitary, lonely. But that has not made any effect on the seasons, on the environment. My emotions, my love, my pathos, they have not tried to influence the environment, the seasons in any way. They have not. When did the heats which my veins fill add one more to the plagueable? Plague, bubonic plague. 16th century, 15th century, we all know that several nations of Europe, they were absolutely devastated by plague. And that's where the speaker says, this is where the reference that the speaker brings, that has my love caused any victim to the bill of plague? There are several people who died because of the disease of plague. They died because of that disease. My love did not play any role in their death. Plague, they died by plague. But my love, they did not die because of my love. My love did not have any adverse effect on their health. Plague had. Soldiers find wars. So there are soldiers who will readily find wars. They will readily find a battleground to wage a war. And lawyers find out still litigious men. Even lawyers will find out litigious men. Litigious meaning that those people who are eager to file a case on someone and everyone. So lawyers will find these people. Soldiers will find wars. Which quarrels move, though she and I do love. Myself and she. Now this is one poem where the gender of the speaker is in a way much more revealed, is a male, though she and I do love. So I am in love with her, and soldiers are going to wage war. Lawyers are going to find people, who are eager to file cases. My love has not ruined anyone. My love has not had any adverse effects on the world. Please, let me love. Call us what you will. We are made such by love. You want to give us different names. You want to call us by different names. You want to give us names. Call us with different names. It does not matter to us. We are made by love. We love each other. You want to call out with some names. You want to humiliate us? Go on. You are welcome to do that. Call her one, me another fly. You want to call us flies who are always buzzing with one another? You want to call us that? Go on. You are welcome to call us that. You are welcome to consider us as flies. We are tapers too. Tapers meaning inconsequential beings, unimportant beings. We are tapers too. We are not important. We are not some aristocratic, rich people. We are simple, ordinary people. We are in love. Let us be. Let us remain in love. So we are tapers too. And at our own cost die. We are going to die one day. Death is something that is a recurring theme in the poems of Donne. So, and at our own cost die, and we in us find the eagle and the dove. Sometimes the eagle is an aggressive bird. Dove is a mild bird, a tame bird. So sometimes, we find one of us is more proactive when we are in the scene of love making. When we are making love to one another, sometimes one of them is the aggressor, the other is more docile. Sometimes one of us is an eagle, the other is a dove. The phoenix riddle hath more wit by us. We die. We are going to die, right? When we are making love to one another, one is an eagle, the other is a dove, and the speaker is already aware that one day will come when they'll die. But when they die, the phoenix riddle hath more wit by us. Phoenix. Phoenix is a legendary bird which is considered as a bird which takes birth from the ashes, which rises from the ashes. So phoenix, when we die, it's like phoenix is going to get birth. The phoenix riddle hath more wit by us. We two being one are it. When we are one, when we are into this love making, we are one. We are not two different things, we are just one. So to one neutral thing, both sexes fit. And then there's no distinction between sex. This is a male, this is a female. No, there's no need to distinguish between sexes. We will be one. We die and rise the same and prove mysterious by this love. Just like phoenix, we die and we are going to rise. We are going to rise like the phoenix bird which rises from the ashes. So we die and rise the same and prove mysterious by this love. Our love is going to be a mystery to the people. They are going to wonder the amount of love that we have for one another. We can die by it, if not live by love. We can die. Right now, because we are not able, people are not allowing us to live peacefully in love. So then the speaker says, we'll die. If we are not able to live in love, we will die. We can die by it. And if unfit for tombs and hearse, our death, our mortal bodies, maybe people will consider, they are ordinary people, simple people. If our bodies, our dead bodies, are not considered fit enough to be carried in tombs. Tombs is this place where dead bodies are buried. Hearse is like a coffin. If people feel that our dead bodies should not be in tombs or hearse, and if no piece of chronicle we prove, and then there is no sort of a monument which is built for us, our dead bodies are not fit enough for tombs or hearse, and then even there's no monument which justifies our love, fair enough. The speaker says he's absolutely fine with that. No issues with the speaker. We will build in sonnets pretty rooms. In sonnets, we are going to build pretty rooms. Our love will be immortal in sonnets. People are going to acknowledge and notice us, and they're going to write sonnets about our love. For the speaker does not care whether their dead bodies will be buried in tombs or a hearse. That's fine. The speaker even does not care if a monument is not built in the honor of this couple. It's fine with the speaker. The speaker says our love will be reflected in the sonnet that people write. And during the 16th and 17th century, sonnets were often dedicated to the lady love. So our love is going to find an eternal place in sonnets. It also goes on to say that literature is eternal. So, we will build in sonnets pretty rooms. Our space will be in pretty rooms. We don't need space after we die in tombs or in hearse. We don't need that. Our space will be in the love sonnets that people are going to write. As well, a well-wrought urn becomes the greatest ashes as half-acre tombs. A well-wrought urn is this container where ashes of the dead person are kept. So, it's a well-wrought urn. As well, a well-wrought urn becomes the greatest ashes as half-acre tombs. People conserve the remains of a dead person in the sacred urn. Well-wrought urn. We don't need any urns. We don't need any places. We will be immortal. Our love will be immortal in literature, in sonnets. And by these hymns, the lyrical poems that people are going to write about love, our love is immortal. Our love is going to stay forever. People need to have a monument erected in their name for the other people to remember them. The speaker says we don't need any such things. Our love is going to remain in the love sonnets, in the hymns. All shall approve us canonized for love, and then everyone is going to consecrate us, to give a tag. That's what consecrating is. They're going to give us a tag that they are the ideal lovers. They are going to canonize us as lovers. And thus invoke us, you whom reverend love made one another's hermitage. And then after our canonization is done, after our consecration is done, what will be written, what will be inscribed during our canonization? You whom reverend love made one another's hermitage. You've, both those individuals, where reverend love, divine love, pious love, respected and honored love. That's what reverend is. Reverend love made one another's hermitage. Hermitage is a place. It means a house. So where did love make a place? Inside us, inside the lovers. Love made a place. That is what would be written in the canonization. You whom reverend love made one another's hermitage. You to whom love was peace and now is rage. For you wanted to be peaceful in love. You did not want anyone to disturb you when you were in love with the beloved. Now it is a rage. People are inspired by you. Your love is an inspiration. It is making them full of rage, full of emotions. Who did the whole world's soul contract and drove into the glasses of your eyes? The whole world's soul was contracted in your love. The whole world's soul. That was the magnanimity of your love. The whole world's soul is contracted in your love. And drove into the glasses of your eyes, so made such mirrors and such spies that they did all to you epitomize all the mirrors and everything that has been built in the honor of love. It is just going to reflect the magnanimity of love that you possess. So they made mirrors and spies, and that they did all to you epitomize. There will be countries, towns and courts, and they'll be begging from above a pattern of your love. People would be desperately praying to love, to inherit the quality of love, just like both of you reflected for one another. People will be desperate for that. People would be craving to inherit, to possess that element of love. With this, we come to the end of this poem. Again, there are a few major themes which are also observed here in this poem. First, that I would like to talk about is mature and eternal love. Mature love. This is not a teenage love. This is a mature love. And we get an idea from the speaker when the speaker says that, the speaker is experiencing palsy, muscular disease, even gout, and grey hairs. So usually such diseases come as people get old. So this is not a young 20, 25, 15-year-old's love. This is a mature person's love. This is more like a middle-aged person's love. Also, these lines, who says my tears have overflowed his ground? This is where the speaker is more mature in love. This is not desperate teenage love, where people become desperate and, try to showcase their desperation in love. This is a mature and intelligent and docile love. The speaker says that my tears have never overflowed anyone's ships. My tears have never sunk anyone's ships. They have not. So this is where the speaker is being absolutely realistic. Not getting bombarded or overflowed with emotions and love. Level-headed love. Level-headed. When did my colds of forward spring remove? When did the heats which my veins feel add one more to the plaguey bill? So, being absolutely realistic. We all know how teenage love is. Trying to be desperate in love. This is a level-headed, calm, tranquil love. And the speaker does not want any disturbance. These are some of the few lines. We can die by it, if not live by love, and if unfit for tombs and hearse our legend be. This is mature love. The speaker has definitely accepted that one day they're going to die, and so it's fine. It's fine if our love, because of the way how we have loved, we do not find any hearse or tombs. It's fine. A realistic exception of love and also of death. So this is where we see mature and eternal love. Non-interference from others. This is a very strong theme here. The beginning of this poem. The speaker is remarking to someone who probably is disturbing the speaker. For God's sake, hold your tongue and let me love. Please don't interfere. Please don't disturb. Let me love. Don't try to interfere. Don't try to talk about my ailments, my diseases. Please don't. Let me love. Even these lines, call us what you will, we are made such by love. Call her one, me another fly. So you want to call us, you want to give us names, you can give us names. Go on, give us names. You want to consider us flies? Call us flies. It does not matter to the speaker. Whatever names, whatever humiliation that people are throwing at him. And the last theme that I would like to talk about is pure, consecrated and sacred love. This is pure love. This is divine love. This is consecrated and sacred love. So, these lines. We die and rise the same and prove mysterious by this love. This is divine love. These lines, they reflect that their love is absolutely divine, absolutely pure. There's no jealous love. There's no insecurity in love. They're absolutely fine and level-headed and calm in love. All shall approve us canonized for love. Everyone is going to one day realize that our love was so pure that it should be canonized. Canonization can only be done by the church. So one day people will realize that we can be considered as saints of love. The form, meter and the rhyme scheme of this poem is that there are 5 stanzas of this poem and each stanza contains 9 lines. Majority of the poem is in iambic feet. Not all the lines, they are in iambic pentameter. But we can say that most of the lines are in iambic pentameter. Some lines have 5 iams, some lines have 4 iams, some have just 3 iams. So it varies. The rhyme scheme of each stanza is the same, however. So the 9 lines of each stanza, the rhyme scheme is that A B B A C C C A A. This is the rhyme scheme of this poem. Moving on to the last poem of John Donne, A Valediction, Forbidding Morning. Forbidding morning, a valediction. This is it. The title means that the speaker does not want to be mourned. There might be some separation. So this is a plea. This is a request not to mourn. The poem was written somewhere around 1612, and this poem was also published posthumously in 1633 after the death of John Donne in the collection Songs and Sonnets. I'll read the poem first. As virtuous men pass mildly away and whisper to their souls to go, whilst some of their sad friends do say, the breath goes now, and some say no. So let us melt and make no noise. No tear floods, nor sigh tempests move. It were profanation of our joys to tell the laity our love. Moving of the earth brings harms and fears. Men reckon what it did and meant, but trepidation of the spears, though greater far, is innocent. Dull, sublunary lovers love, whose soul is sense cannot admit. Absence, because it doth remove those things which elemented it. But we, by a love so much refined that ourselves know not what it is, interassured of the mind, careless, eyes, lips, and hands to miss. Our two souls, therefore, which are one, though I must go, endure not yet a breach, but an expansion. Like gold to airy thinness beat. If they be two, they are two so, as stiff twin compasses are two. Thy soul, the fixed foot, makes no show to move, but doth if the other do. And though it in the centre sit, yet when the other far doth roam, it leans and hearkens after it, and grows erect as that comes home. Such wilt thou be to me, who must, like the other foot, obliquely run. Thy firmness makes my circle just, and makes me end where I begun. Let us try to understand this poem line by line. The speaker of the poem mentions, as virtuous men pass mildly away and whisper to their souls to go. When virtuous men, when great men, when they die, they pass mildly without making any noise. So they pass away mildly and whisper to their souls to go. They just tell their souls, let's go. And they pass away. They die. Whilst some of their sad friends do say, the breath goes now, and some say, no. So these great men, these virtuous men, they pass away so silently that some of the friends who are around near them during their death, near their deathbed, they even fail to notice that they have passed away. So that is what virtuous men, great men are. So let us melt and make no noise. And after giving the comparison of virtuous men dying peacefully, silently, now the speaker is talking about, so let us melt and make no noise. When we get separated, let us not make any noise about it. Let us melt. Let's not make any noise. Let there be no commotion about our separation. No tear floods, no crying. Let's not cry and try to create a scene. Nor sigh tempest move. Let's not sigh deeply, missing someone, someone who is sad, missing the beloved, in despair, desperate. Let's not be any of such things. It were profanations of our joys to tell the lady our love. We are in love. Probably time has come for us to be separate. So the speaker says that when we separate, if there is this temporary separation, partial separation, when we separate, let us not create a fuss about our separation. Let us separate silently, because it is profane. It is insulting of our love. If to tell the laity our love, laity is common people, let not the common people know that we are so deeply in love with each other. Let them not be aware about our love. We love each other. It's fine. That does not mean that we create a scene during our separation. It's fine. Let us peacefully accept the separation. Moving of the earth brings harms and fears. When the moving of the earth, it's like earthquake. When the earth, moves, this is earthquake. People are all afraid and terrified. It brings all sorts of harms and fears about this earthquake. Men reckon what it did and meant. People go on to, they are so scared that they talk about earthquake for so much time. They talk about it. They're terrified by earthquake. But trepidation of the spheres. And this is where the speaker is talking about celestial objects. Objects which are there in space. Now these celestial objects are much more grand than a minor earthquake. They are huge. They are humongous. They are magnanimous. They are on a grand scale. Not to the level of an earthquake. So earthquake happens and people are all terrified. With the trepidation of the spheres, with the movement of the celestial things, when these gigantic things they move, though greater far, they are great but innocent. Now innocent here means that their movement does not cause any panic. Their movement, we all know that the sun is rotating, earth definitely is rotating and also revolving around the sun. These are massive celestial objects. We also have various planets, massive planets revolving around the sun, also rotating on their axis. They are on such a grand level, and an earthquake is on a minuscule level. So earthquake happens and people are all bothered about it. When these celestial objects are moving, they are innocently moving, not having any effect on the people. Our separation, let it be on a grand scale. Let our love not be known to common people. We are separating. Let us not create a fuss during our separation. Moving on. Dull, sublunary lovers love whose soul is sense cannot admit absence. There are common people who are in love, ordinary people who are in love, and when they get separated, they are so anxious, so terrified, so petrified about the separation. So let us not be like that. Let us not be like some ordinary lovers. There has to be some element of grandiose in our love and also in our separation, because it doth remove those things which elemented it. So love, because of love, there are so many things you acquire, you possess so many divine characteristics. But when you act all fidgety during separation, during the absence of the beloved, all those things are destroyed. Love brings magnanimity, grand things. They establish it. But when we act all fidgety and all nervous, all those things which are established by love, they get completely destroyed. But we, by a love so much refined, ours is not some common ordinary love. Ours is much more grand, magnanimous, refined love. That ourselves know not what it is. We don't know what it is. It's on some level. It's on some grand level. Interassured of the mind. Careless, eyes, lips and hands to miss. We are not going to be bothered if physically if the beloved is not present. That is not going to make any significant impact on us. Whether the lips are not there, eyes are not there, hands are not there. We are okay with that. We have accepted that level of acceptance during separation. Let us have that. Let us have that grand level of acceptance of separation. Our two souls, therefore, which are one. Our souls are one. Again, a common recurring theme of John Donne's poems. We are one. We are united by love. So we are one, not two different distinct entities. Though I must go, endure not yet a breach, but an expansion. Okay, so fine. The speaker confesses that the speaker has to go. It's okay, fine. But that's not a breach in our love. That is not going to create a division in our love. In fact, the absence, the separation of the speaker is just going to expand their love. There's a saying, absence is going to make the heart grow fonder. So here, our love is going to expand. It's not going to create a divide, a breach. Like gold to airy thinness beat. Gold, a metal, when it is beaten again and again, when it is hammered again and again, it becomes vast. It spreads. Our love, by separation, is going to expand, just like the metal, gold. If they be two, they are two so, as stiff twin compasses are two. We are, now this is where a conceit comes into place. The speaker of the poem is talking about compasses. This poem was written in the 17th century, so there was no advanced compass. Compass is what we need for direction, to point out the north direction, south, east and west directions. So we are like two compasses, two hands of compasses. We are like twins. Thy soul, the fixed foot. Now a compass has two foot or two hands. There are two arrows. Your arrow is one arrow is a fixed arrow. You are a fixed arrow. And because I have to go, there's a separation. Mine is like a moving arrow. So thy soul, that's what the speaker is telling to the beloved. Thy soul, you are a fixed foot. Makes no show to move, but doth if the other do. When do you move? You usually do not move. You generally do not move. You only move when the other foot moves, when the other leg, the other hand of the compass moves, that's where you move. Other than that, you never move. And though it in the center sit, yet when the other far doth roam. You're always there in the center, usually pointing to the north direction. So you're always there. You're always there at the center. And when the other far doth roam, if the other arrow, it roams, it leans and hearkens, then your arrow, it leans a little. Just a slight leaning takes place of your arrow and hearkens after it and grows erect as that comes home. And when the other arrow, which is moving, when that comes home, your arrow is absolutely stand still, absolutely erect. Such wilt thou be to me, who must, like the other foot, obliquely run. My life is like the other arrow. I will have to run. That's where the separation comes into place. I will have to run. I will have to go to different places, which is why the arrow which signifies me, I will run obliquely. Thy firmness makes my circle just. You are so firm. Your arrow, your leg of the compass is so firm that my roaming is justified and makes me end where I began. Where am I going to end? Where the point where I had begun. So I'm ultimately, even though I have to go to different places, I'm going to come back to you, to where I had begun. And this is where the poem ends. There are a couple of major themes here also observed in this poem. This is a secure and eternal love. There is no insecurity in love. There is separation. There is definitely going to be the absence of one of the persons involved in love with the other. Definitely there. But this is not an insecure, jealous, protective, or rather overprotective love. It's a secure love and eternal love. The love is eternal. These lines, but we by a love so much refined that ourselves know not what it is, assured of the mind. Our love is on some grand level, so much refined, that even we don't know what is the level of our love. It's on some grand level, and we are definitely assured if you are not going to see the beloved's hands or eyes or lips, it's fine. Momentary separation, momentary absence, it's fine. Love is eternal. Even the next lines, our two souls therefore which are one, we are one. There are two bodies, but we are one. That's how they are united in love. I must go, the speaker has to go, but this separation, this going of the speaker is not going to cause a divide in their love, is not going to cause a breach in their love, it's going to expand their love. A couple of lines also where eternal love, secure and eternal love is also reflected. I'll come to the second major theme, graciousness and control of emotions. This is not overflowing of emotions. This is not teenage love, so dominated by emotions. Being level-headed in love, controlling emotions in love, that's what this poem also signifies. Being gracious. The beginning lines of the poem, virtuous men, the example that the speaker gives, that when virtuous men, great men, when they die peacefully. And just like the way how they peacefully die away, they separate from their mortal body, let us also melt and make no noise. Let us not try to make any noise when we separate. There should be no tears or no overpouring of emotions, no overwhelming of emotions. It's fine. This separation, let us accept it in a graceful manner. So no tempest, it is profane if we try to get overwhelmed with love and showcase and demonstrate emotions when we are in love. Let's not do any such things. Even these lines, where the speaker is talking about ordinary lovers, who just cannot accept even a momentary absence, even a momentary separation. We are not like that. We are much more mature and level-headed than them. So our love is also much more mature. Coming to the point of form, meter and the rhyme scheme of the poem. The poem has 9 stanzas and each stanza has 4 lines. So any a stanza which has 4 lines is known as a quatrain, meaning that there are 9 quatrains in this particular poem. The poem is written in iambic tetrameter. So there will be 8 syllables. Iamb, as I mentioned earlier, is a feat which has an unstressed syllable followed by a stressed syllable. To give an example, so let us melt and make no noise. When we are speaking, we will be able to identify iambs. So this is iambic tetrameter. There are 4 iambs which are used in each line of the poem. The rhyme scheme of the poem is simple. It's a very simple poem. Is AB, AB, meaning in each stanza, the first line of the poem will rhyme with the third line of the poem, and the second line of the poem will rhyme with the fourth line of the poem. With that, I come to the conclusion of my session. It is always an honor and a privilege to be invited by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Open University. I am so grateful and thankful to them to invite me to share my information, my ideas with all of us.